Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to prepare for the producer price index. It's the PPI report, and tomorrow, 1 hour before the market opens, there's going to be a report based on the producing side of things. So this is a little bit different from the CPI data report. This is on the producing side. And in this video, I'm going to break it down what the current market expectations are, and if it comes in above or below, how the market will most likely react. Friendly reminder, I will be live streaming the CPI data report 1 hour before the market opens, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel and turn on your post notifications, and make sure you drop a thumbs up on this video so you get alerted when it is that we go live. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, send me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link in the description down below. Let's go ahead and jump right to it. So I'm actually going to do a super quick market recap. TQQQ, which is the bull ETF, ended down negative 3.97%. There was a lot of volatility today. If you're part of my Learn Plan Profit group, you would have seen, my initial entry, and when it began to indicate signs of an uptrend, I actually walked away with making a little bit over $15,000 on the day on TQQQ. And I also shorted the market. This was actually caught during our live trading session, and I made a little bit over 22,000 there, 22,500. So around $38,000 on the day. If you look at the overall NASDAQ market, it was a movement of 1.37%. So for very little movement, I feel like I definitely made the most of it. I don't normally trade both sides. There's just so much volatility with SQQQ being down pre-market and then gapping up, becoming very overbought. And it was very easy to see that on the 5-minute time frame. I mean, we were very, very overbought, right? Where I quickly, this is one thing that I'm still trying to get better at, but it was caught in my live trading session today with the Learn Plan Profit team. I quickly reduced my position size at overbought levels. I'm trying to become more comfortable being cash and locking in profits at very overbought levels, even when most of the time, and again, you can ask all of our Learn Plan Profit traders that watched it, I tend to sell very early. But again, it's not about just selling early, but it's at least selling and locking in profits. Our goal when it comes down to trading or investing should never be to be perfect, right? I will never have a perfect entry. I will never have a perfect exit. With that being said, I'm very grateful with how I walked away up over 22K on SQQQ and up over 15K on TQs. We reduced our position size. We locked in profits. The market sold off. The market began to recover. So SQQQ sold off, and then I jumped into TQs. TQs began to go up, and these are inverses, as you can tell, of one another. Then TQs became very overbought, and guess what? It gapped up all the way up to $19. Can you guys guess where I sold? I ended up selling right around $18.50. I showed, let me just go ahead and actually show you. I actually showed our Learn Plan Profit group exactly where it is that I sold. So you can see here I sold 10,000 shares at $18.51. I am nowhere close to being perfect with my trade. You guys could see how quickly I got out. It became very overbought, but it's okay, right? I didn't have to jump into SQQQ. It wasn't until it confirmed that it was actually pulling on back. Then I jumped back into SQQQ, riding this sucker back up, and then guess what? I locked in profits right around $62.50, and it gapped up to $64.50. So I left $2 still, of potential profit. I could have had FOMO. Again, I'm never going to be perfect, and I want to be a perfect example of someone that is not perfect but can still make a couple bucks, when we're presented an opportunity. I think that's the biggest goal when it comes down to trading, is to accept that you're never going to be perfect. Your exits are never going to be perfect, but it's okay, right? You still did something that most people can't, and that's staying disciplined enough to lock in profits. And I think that's a positive takeaway. We can always get better in maybe positioning or averaging out of our position, or reducing our position size at overbought levels. You don't always have to sell it completely, but I'm feeling a lot more confident selling it completely and just being okay with staying cash, especially during this uncertain time. So again, very grateful for how today played on out. But let's go ahead and talk about this PPI data report. What is it, right? What is PPI? What does it stand for? Let me go ahead and break it down for you guys. So PPI stands for the Producer Price Index. You know how there's a CPI data report that's on the consumer side, that's the consumer price index. It's actually very simple. All of these reports they're month-over-month reports. And the one that's about to be reported gets released in the month of October, so tomorrow, 1 hour before the market opens, but it actually is a report on September. So it's going to show from August to September what went up with inflation on the producing side of things. And I actually wanted to show you an example of one of these reports. So if I actually pull it on up, and you can do your own due diligence as I would recommend for each and every single one of you. This is all available at bls.gov, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can pull this up, right? This is where I'm gonna be pulling the report tomorrow. And when you first go to it, you can Google search PPI data report, and then it's the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can go right on over here and click on PDF. It pulls this little bad boy out, and it shows you these little charts of where each month is being documented or where each month is being reported. So just to keep it super simple, they're pretty much line items. So you can see here that we have these specific food, energy, we got a total of trade, transportation, all of these line items that are being documented every single month for 2022. And all this report is, let's keep it super simple, it's documenting if the price for that line item has gone up or gone down on average on the producing side of things. Now, two things that you should know. The first thing is the producer price index is never as popular as the consumer price index. Why? The market always reacts more on the consumer price index than they do to the PPI data report. Does it mean that it's always more important? Not necessarily, because if you actually think about it, if we're seeing inflation happen on the producing side of things, then it most likely means that we're going to see inflation on the consumer side of things in the up and coming reports, right? So it's almost a good way to kind of forecast or foreshadow inflation rising or declining by paying attention to the PPI, and maybe in the next couple of months, how on the consumer side, they will see an increase or decrease based off of that PPI data report. The reason the consumer price index is more popular is, well, what do you think? The general public cares more about what the consumer is paying and not so much what the producing side is paying, right? But for investors like you and I that are trying to have a better understanding and preparation for the future, then being able to pay attention to something like the producer price index, it could be very useful to kind of foreshadow or forecast if inflation is going up or inflation is going down on the producing side, right? Because if we see inflation is going up on the producing side of things, then it makes sense that producers need to make sure that they remain profitable. And if their inflation of their cost of goods are going up, then they're going to have to charge more. So then the consumer price index is going to come in higher. Makes sense? And vice versa. If they see inflation coming down, then most likely, if they want to maintain their same margins, they can bring down their cost of things, and consumers can therefore see a drop in inflation as well. So that's the best example that I feel like I can give you. When it comes down to overall expectation, it's actually very simple, so I use this. This is the PPI expectation, and it is expected to rise 0.2%. This is the PPI data report, and then this is again released at 1 hour before the market opens, so it's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then we have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow as well. So two main things that I want to make sure that you guys are paying attention to. And then the last thing that I want you guys to know, I wanted to use this as an example, but I wasn't too sure if I was going to. Yeah, let me go ahead and skip that. But the last thing that I wanted to show you is I wanted you to have a better understanding of how PPI reports have been coming for the past couple of months, right? And we can see that the average we've seen increase over increase over increase, and it was really the previous 2 months where they came in lower than expected, or they actually saw a decrease, right? And that's kind of a good thing, right? Because we want inflation to go down. But if you pay attention to current market expectations, it might be why the market is selling so much or selling off so much, is because the market expectation is expected for the producer price index to come in 0.2% higher than the previous PPI report. Now, how will the market react? It's very simple. If we come in lower than expected. So right now we have a 0.2% increase, but if we come in at a break even, right, so at 0.0%, and or if we actually see a decrease, right, just like the last month we saw a negative 0.1%, let's say we see another negative 0.1%, that would be good, right? That means that inflation on the producing side of things is still going down for the previous month, which is September, which would be a great forecast for the CPI data report. Now, one thing that you need to know is just because we see either an increase or a decrease in the PPI data report, it doesn't always justify what's going to happen for the up and coming CPI data report. There's sometimes a delay, right? Because if the producers see an increase or a decrease, it's a domino effect. It takes some time for then the consumer to see that increase or a decrease. So you kind of have to respect that. It's a great resource to be aware of and how it works, but it's never 100% perfect, right? But just like we said, again, if PPI comes in lower than expected, the market will most likely react in a positive way. So something like the NASDAQ or TQQQ will rise. But if we come in with an expectation of 0.2%, but maybe we come in at 0.3 or 0.4, meaning higher than expected, that would probably cause the market to sell off even more, right? So I wanted to explain what the PPI data report was, why it's important, and then what happens based off of current expectation if it comes above or below. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, I'd be more than happy to answer it for you, but that's really just it. So I appreciate you guys' time. Again, if you have any questions, you guys can either comment down below and I'll try to respond to all of them, or just send me a direct message via Discord. That's that first link in the description, or send me a direct message via Instagram, and that's that third link down below. Friendly reminder, I only have one Instagram account. It's linked in the description. It's the third link. I'm verified. All the other Instagram accounts are fake. I will never message you first, and that should be a huge red flag. If you ever receive a message from me pretending to be me, I don't use WhatsApp and I don't use Telegram. The only group that I work with on a closer basis is my Learn Plan Profit group, and that's that second link down below if you want to learn more about it. They are the only team that get to watch me trade live every day. So if you would like to watch me trade live tomorrow and even shortly after that CPI data report, right now we are running a $100 off sale, and that's that second link in the description if you want to learn more about it and to see if it's a good fit for you. I appreciate your time. Hope that we earned your thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe because we are going to be live streaming that CPI data report, and I want to make sure that you don't miss it. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.